I was waiting for someone to be like, I'm suspicious of that claim. Oh yeah, we do that kind of stuff. It's like, no, she'll be like, you know, do you know you're the most handsome boy ever married? Like, yeah, but I'm also the least handsome. You know, the smartest boy ever married. It's like, yeah, but I'm also the least smart. It's a normal exchange. It appears like all those lights are burned out. So we'll deal with that. Alright, so I'm going to start reading the book, put on double time, and I'm going to stretch. Okay, and I'm going to hide the webcam here for just a couple minutes because, you know, I just cooked my dinner and I'm going to eat it. And I know people... I know it's not a great thing to, like, eat in front of people, like, yeah, you're showing. It's not rude isn't the word, it's not in good taste. So I'm going to quickly be doing that. So I'll probably not be talking a whole lot for 2-3 minutes, but you'll see me doing mouse stuff here and all that. But, I'll be back in just a couple minutes there, but I am here. We will still be playing. I'll just be a little quiet for a few. No mukbang stream? I don't know what... I mean, are you, like, describing the noise of someone eating? Like, I'm not catching that one. Gotcha, now. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember there's a camaraderie issue that people are just having problems meeting people, so it's like they would watch someone else like eat their dinner as if they were at a table together. Yeah, that was always weird. I'm just like, oh, that's really, really depressing, honestly. Not that I've seen Fox Mouse. I've never seen a way of doing it, no. Not that there might be a way. You know, I've never checked. Let's check here. Yeah, no, I see you can open a sack of the produce, but we can't make a new one from the looks of it. In hindsight, that is kind of an oversight that they probably should have that. Which, for those who aren't familiar with what I'm talking about, or me and Foxmouse are talking about, is a bunch of the warehouses that used to have tools in them in the game, since the multiplayer update, have had their loot changed to be like full of these I'm gonna call them like cloth bags of produce. So you just find like sacks of potatoes, sacks of apples, sacks of that kind of stuff. And they're really nice because they reduce the weight of that produce a little bit before you have like bags and everything, so that's really helpful. But the issue is they're only good for like the first month in game, and then the only things left are potatoes. Everything else is rotten by then. Like, that is actually one of my tricks for when you're doing an early start of these games, is if you go to one of those ones, like the one south of Ekron, for example, is really close to a ice cream place that has 2 freezers in it. So if you go right away at the beginning of the game, grab a bunch of those sacks of food, take it to that ice cream place and chuck them all in the freezers. And that means you have basically several months worth of food just covered in those. Interesting. Oh, good old thunder snow. Yeah, it's looking like we probably have Storm today in game and tomorrow in game, which I would guess would be the last day is tomorrow in game. And almost done. Alright, bear with me. The Greater Danish cashed in 10 push-ups. I believe after that I'll only have 3 more redemptions left for the stream, so I'm going to knock those out and be right back. Okay, and I'm back. Let me get those documented. Yeah, my numbers are right. We got 3 more push-up redemptions for the stream, and then that'll be all 100 push-ups for the stream. My mouth is slightly on fire from too much habanero sauce. But it was delicious, so you know. Consequences of flavor. And pretty soon we'll run out of material for doing this. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get the point. How much are we down to thread-wise? 24? Let's grab the leather strips and actually... Oh no, let's not. Let's just level it. I'll worry without like the extra protection for a little while. Because when we hit 8 tailoring, everything will give 2 extra scratch and 2 extra bite resistance from where I get right now. Well, see, every level, that's kind of how it goes. With leather. Right now, we're just doing cloth. It's easier to level using cloth than the leather. Thank you for the follow, Trey and Jamie. Welcome to the stream. Yep, just gonna quickly knock this out until we run out of materials, which we're pretty close to running out of thread. That'll be all the tailoring we do for a while. Periodically, when we see a large pile of corpses that we make, we'll take the time to shred it, but we're not going to worry about trying to just grind it out. Because I really do want to get to level 8, because that's when I can actually fix my clothes. Because otherwise I put a patch on, you only get like a subset of the defense, not the actual defense. Alright, and that's it. All out of thread, so drop that on the ground. Put the sewing needle away, so nothing else here. Okay, we were super close to leveling, but we didn't quite get there. That's fine. So next thing I'm going to work on is we're just going to go and start tearing apart furniture for metalworking skill. Oh, we got some... Oh, actually, these are done. I'll wait till they're seeding. Grab the one not fresh frozen potato. That'll need fuel soon, but that's not a right now problem. Oh, right, the tires. Before we go anywhere. Yeah, but as you can see, this car's in really good shape. It's got a real powerful engine to it. The engine's really high quality. Pretty noisy, but I actually don't care about that. So, good car. Gas tank's a little underwhelming, but you know, it's fine. Nope. Now, I mentioned on stream a good couple times, the amount of gas you have in each of these pumps. Like, if I were to be alive in this character for 10 years, driving back and forth as I have, I would not run out a single pump. Like, not even close. Like, when you consider this car's gas tank is like 20-something units of gas, and that means I'm using 20-something units of gas, like, driving back and forth every, what, 5 days or so? Like, no matter which of these cars I take, I'm refilling, like, every 5 days. Now, that means every 5 days I'm only tapping out about 10, 15 units of gas because I don't fully exhaust my amount of gas. So you get the idea there. And then as far as the generator, it only carries 10 units of gas, and we keep filling it up probably once every maybe week, every other week. I don't know the exact amount. So you're talking, in the course of a month, I probably go through maybe 100 units of gas. And then you go and you do the math that, like, each one of these pumps probably carries well over 10,000 units of gas. I mean, you're talking like 100 plus months, maybe at best, to run one of these pumps out. And that's, you know, again, I'm not being conservative on my gas at all. Alright, note to self, if I get going real fast, the brakes in this thing are kind of inadequate for the amount of speed I can get out of it. And then we're working on the metalworking as well. And the reason for that is so I can actually start when I get my hands on a decent car with sirens. I'm going to take the time to actually fix it up and make it nice for rolling around because we'll use it for a long time. So far I've seen a couple of wrecks, but, you know. One of the things I don't know is when it comes to repairing the cars in the game. So most stuff when you repair it in game, you know, each time you repair it, the amount you repair becomes less and less likely. I don't know if cars work the same way or not, because I've never done it. Like, I've only done the most minor repairs of just replacing parts of the car, not actually, like, patching them up kind of thing. Do you remember how many machetes I've found so far? I've actually kept every single machete we found. I think we've actually maybe found less machetes than katanas. I think we're up to like 12, 15 maybe? Yes. The number of katanas I have found in this playthrough so far is more katanas than I have found in my entire time playing Project Zomboid, if you exclude this playthrough. So, like, I think outside of this playthrough I found maybe 5 or 6 katanas. But this playthrough I've just found an absolutely absurd number. And a big part of that is we are playing on ridiculous zombie pops, and we have survived 9 months. So it's not something like inherently magic about this playthrough or just some ridiculous RNG so much as we're doing a ridiculous number of zombies and just last for long. Oh yeah, we have broken all 16 or 17 katanas? No. So I believe you can actually find katanas in survivor houses on the very rare occasion. But that said, the vast majority of the time you will find them in zombies, and they do not show up in zombies at all until after 2 months post the zombie plague breakout. Which is why most people never see them. Is if you start with like the regular apocalypse start, you have to have survived 2 months before you see any. Yeah, and they're just stuck in zombies. They're actually pretty easy to see once they're there. So survivor houses, you'll find a house that's like all boarded up. Like someone had clearly survived the initial outbreak. They boarded it up. You'll find usually a decent amount of food, maybe weapons, that kind of stuff inside. So it's just houses with particularly good loot. A lot of times you'll also find a hell of a lot of zombies inside. I.e. the survivors who, survived a good while but didn't quite make it. Hey, Ocean Madness, how's it going? Gotcha. Yeah, so Ocean Madness just confirming that they did in fact find a 100% condition katana in a survivor house, but still no zombies at 2.5 months. So my beliefs on how this works, and this could be wrong, is that the zombies spawn as you like find them or you get close to them kind of thing. And zombies that have spawned before the 2.5 months will not have them. So you kind of have to keep killing them. Yes, actually, Sugar. You can use the... one of the gardening recipes is you can actually make pesticides with tobacco for when you get bugs on your plants. You can use it as a way of curing the bugs. Just like milk, even if it's gone bad, actually has a use for gardening. There's like, I think it's a type of mildew or something that you can have in the game. That's the same deal. That said, you can also just ignore the various pests by just going, okay, well that, like, cause you see when you've seen where I like put a gap between all my stuff, you go, I'm just going to ignore actually dealing with this problem and instead, just when the plants get infected, I wait till they die and just dig up the plant and just call it a day and not even worry about it. Or you just don't farm. You can technically, like, farming is not required to survive long term. You can forage. You could fish. You'd probably put on an absolutely ludicrous amount of weight over time, but, you could fish. You could also just, like, even on the default settings, not even turning up the food abundance, in the food you find in one town, sorry, there was, like, an Amber Alert kind of thing. But, which I have mine off, but you could very clearly hear my wife's phone in the other room. That's so loud. Not her phone, just Amber Alerts in general. They don't respect your volume settings. But, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. Like, there's enough food, like, on the map and non-perishable things, like canned goods and houses. Just, like, going through one town, you can survive probably well over a year on just one town. Even, like, low loot for one town. Bab Chrono says, I found a katana the first week in a survivor house, but is the only one I found in the survivor house in more than 1k hours of gameplay. Yes. I don't think I think I take that back. I think I have found a singular katana in a survivor house, and I'm also well over 1k hours. And that said, katanas I found in survivors at this, or in zombies at this point, is something like we're up to probably 22, 23 at this point. Are these considered metal? No, these are considered wood. Or carpentry, I shouldn't say wood. These are considered carpentry. Oh, I need to unmark that. As you see, this vet we got is like vet. 507 horses. I actually think it's a Chevrolet, not a vet, but it doesn't matter. Like, I know it says what it is, but... The point is, it has 570 horsepower. That's the important bit of the discussion. Yeah. Actually, let's see, it'll tell us. I mean, it's very clearly, you know, supposed to be an existing car from the 80s, 90s. They call it a Cavalier cassette. So I'm guessing a Corvette? Is what it's supposed to be mimicking. The point is, it's a sports car with some go. Or, as a lot of people will find out, it is a coffin on wheels once you open it up the gas. Because you open up the gas in that thing, it is going to wrap itself around a tree real fast. And then you will die in it. Again, if you open it up. Cruise control will save your life. As will Sunday Driver. I mean, they do. I mean, unless you're talking about something else. Like, maybe, oh, you're probably talking like the watches and that. Yeah, that's fair. Because like I was saying, it's like, all that stuff, I'm like, but my character is. I don't understand. How is the metalworking skill going? It's going alright. Ah. So one thing you can actually do is for some stuff, I believe you do like dismantle CD player, and you're like, for example, like corpses. If I'm just standing by a bunch of corpses and you pull up these recipes, I can just click on that and say craft all, and they'll pick up and start doing that to all the things. It doesn't work for everything though. It's suddenly striking me that I can just tear all those clothes apart for the thread. And I'm sure someone will be like, no, you're tearing apart the military. No, it's fine. It's crap. It's actually fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. The vest is crap, but the rest of it's fine. I mean, unless you're doing, like, the whole, one of the jokes is, Project Fashionoid. Like, that's a thing. And yes, I know the poncho is super rare, and I will absolutely tear it if possible. Like, I should take that back. The poncho used to be super rare. Okay, so you cannot tear it. Like, yeah, this used to be super rare. So people get all excited when we find one. I'm like, but I'm not going to use it. So it doesn't really matter that it's rare. Like, that's not important. But ponchos used to be super rare that you could only find them like here, and I think there's one other place in the map that you found them back before. But nowadays you can find them here, you can find them in the military base, you can find them in the little boot camp, you can find them at the checkpoint outside Louisville. Like now there's a bunch of places, so your world ends up having at least a good like half dozen or more of them. Versus before, sometimes you'd have worlds that just didn't have a poncho. But like really all it does is it keeps you from getting wet in the rain, which is nice unless you have outdoorsmen and then you don't care in the first place. Alright, so can't take apart any of that. And none of that, like, I mean, I've got tons of metal sheets and I probably should grab all these metal sheets. But I've just been leveling up my my metalworking. So oh, I don't care about that. I thought it was going to be taken apart like metal. But like, I'll probably end up wanting a bunch of those supplies when it comes time to that we, again, find like the fire marshal's truck or an ambulance or a police truck or whatever. That would go, okay, that one's got a good engine that we actually want to fix up and move. Like then I'll want to circle back and grab a bunch of these metal plates for the process of fixing it up and everything. But that's a lot of crap I have to carry. I agree. I can't kill one. I do feel like metalworking, while it does have use now, in the fact that you can repair cars and all that kind of stuff with it, it still feels like it could use some love, like something that's just it by itself it can do. Because like you can use it to make crates and walls and doors and that kind of stuff, but the amount of material it takes is obnoxiously more than like you can get with carpentry. And then you actually look at the defensive benefits or like the increased storage by comparison to carpentry. It's like, okay, hear me out. I could take the time to get the metal to do this with metal, or I could probably build like half a dozen of whatever these are with carpentry in the same amount of time it'd take. So with that, it's like, okay, I could build a wall that's all metal. It'd take me forever. Or I could build the same wall with like 3 layers deep out of carpentry. You know, why would I then take the time to make the metal one? Or like the crates, I think it's 80 storage without organized on the metal crates versus something like 60 or 50 storage on the wood ones. And you go, right, I could. By the time it'd take me to make a metal crate with materials, I could make like 6 wood crates. You know, so instead of getting 80 storage, I get 300. So like, if you're dealing with confined space, certainly there's an argument to be made with that. But if you're talking about just doing stuff, it's like, no need. I do find it interesting that taking stuff apart uses almost... the big loss says the short blade slayer back in action. Woo. Yep. We are actually kind of in-game taking a couple days off because we're dealing with an absolutely ridiculous storm right now. But once the weather calms down, I do think we're going to be able to finish clearing Riverside today. Riverside is getting pretty scarce. I Can't Kill Anyone says, I like seeing a lot of, I'm going to read in a second, a lot of Louisville apartment buildings. They always look nice and decorated. Mine would be just boxes everywhere. Yeah. Like, actually the base we have this time has a pretty nice aesthetic to it, in my opinion. Even if it's very still, like, utilitarian on most of the stuff. Like, we've done a couple of gag things, like grabbing the degrees and all that kind of stuff, but you know. I do find it pretty funny that I've gotten this reputation as being like the short blade slayer or Mr. Short Blade and all that kind of stuff. It's like, I mean, a lot of people use short blades. I mean, I certainly know there's a lot of people who they're like, oh no, they made short blades not amazing. They're garbage now. They're unusable. I'm like, you're all wrong. All of that is lies. Short blades are perfectly good position right now. Are they meta? Certainly not. Well, I would even take that back. If you're dealing with a low stamina character, I would argue that short blades are the most effective tactic available. Which, for the record, is what meta stands for. Alright, nothing left in this building for us to take apart. Yeah, so if I found one of these trucks that wasn't a wreck, that would absolutely be something that I would patch up and get going. You're doing a no bases run? Just me and my backpack? I mean, that sounds fun. We like, when we did the really CDDA challenge, like that basically for the first half of it ends up being a like no backpack or no base run. Also no cars. Okay, yeah, that's much. Well, I mean, again, to be fair, that was mostly true of a really CDDA run as well, because you have to find, like, I mean, to realistically use the cars for any length of time, you have to find a generator, you have to find the manual, you have to do all those things. Now, granted, I wouldn't say it was the entire run we did that, because it was pretty close to the end that we managed to get our hands on cars not... Ooh. Ooh. I thought we had found all that. I thought we had found all the plaster powder in this area. That's what we did to make our bases fancy. And not just wood slat. So that'll be good. Like, we won't use it right away, but that'd be good for if I make a second story at any point. Because, like, once I get to the point that's like, oh, I don't really have anything else to train when we have bad weather, I'll just be like, alright, well, I'm just going to build more base. Because, I mean, got to do something. The downside of using this car is it has no meaningful storage space in it. It's not planned in any way. It's just those are the cars I'm finding that aren't terrible. But no, I have no problem using like a purple car or a yellow car or anything like that. I like anyone who's seen me play multiplayer, I think I was using a purple truck for a long time. Just put ourselves a bag of plaster in the glove compartment. It's fine, don't worry about it. Now let's see. Burton says, can't it tow pretty well with that horsepower? Probably. I would have no problems with racing around in a hot pink car. I know they talked about... So I didn't hear specifically what they were changing when it came to the inventory thing. Like, I did read something that they were going to fix, and I can't remember the exact verbiage. They were going to fix something where you could store more than it was like intended in certain things, but I didn't see anyone elaborate on what that meant. Because I do know you can put extra in the seat, but that seemed like it was a very deliberate thing. That said, I could absolutely see them saying, okay, you can't do the thing where you like load up a bag full of stuff and then put it in the seat. I could see that go away. But like putting the generator and that in the seat, I don't, because the way they described it, they treated it as almost like it was like an exploit kind of thing they were fixing. And that the seat thing sounds like it was an intended feature. Alright, let's mark this. And these ones I'm putting like this cage thing on it, that tells me that I have gone in and taken apart all the metal stuff. I mean, I would take a trailer behind it. Even with like the performance of this car, like if I start towing something behind it, it will be a pain in the butt. That's not the end of the world. Why did I skip the police station? The police station probably actually has a lot of metal stuff in it. That's fine, I'll just ruin this car. It's okay. I don't want nice things. This doesn't have good brakes in it, for the record. Wait, was that just a Magnum on the ground? Okay. I don't want that on the ground. I don't particularly want a general, but not in the... You know what, I can go on the ground. Where did the Magnum go? Here. Alright, you have fun, Colo. But yeah, I would, if we find a trailer, I would absolutely take a trip behind it. Sorry. I do think I'd avoid towing, like, the big van or something behind it. Because even though it has the power to tow, that would just massively hurt the way it drives. At least I believe it would. We have 2 A4 pages already. Oh, we found ourselves an extra nightstick. Alright. Because, yeah, most of these buildings I never went in at all. Like, you'll notice the loot is all intact in most of these buildings. We just had no reason to loot any of them, so we didn't bother. Yep, that is another possibility. And there is a police car we found that was a wreck in Riverside. That is the one I do, like, unless I find a better one, I do intend on using that as our sirens for Riverside, because it's already there. I just got to tow it someplace closer to center of town. It was pretty far on the south end. But I think what I'd probably do is tow it probably to the north end of the school, is I think where I want to put the wee-woos. And again, that is assuming I do not find, you know, a police car that's not a wreck to drive around. Because my only concern about driving an actual wreck around is sooner or later the car will stall, but the wee-woos will keep going and just empty its battery. And then once I do that, I have to drag the whole thing back. Well, I have to drag the battery back, fully charge it, and do it again. But I mean, I'll do that in a pinch if we don't find a better option. I am just hoping that we just outright find one, though. Curious the wall clock's any good for electrical. So electrical, we're at 9.72. Let's see how much we go up when we take apart this wall clock. So far, the modern ovens are the ones I found to be the absolute best for electrical. 22. So that's like, what, 15? That's not great, but that's not terrible. We'll head back pretty soon because we're getting to that point that it's getting kind of dark. It's going to be drowsy soon. It'll hurt our awareness around us. And while we've been keeping this area very, very clear, wandering around in the dark is a pretty good way to get yourself killed. And this is 100% a run that is a marathon of minimizing risk at any possible chance and just continuing to kill zombies and pushing forward. Yeah, Yep, we'll head back. The ice freezers, if I'm not mistaken, are the biggest for freezers. Not the biggest total storage, but for freezers alone. I think they're the biggest, if I recall. And I don't particularly care about the refrigeration side of things, I just mostly care about the freezer side of things. Like, I do know there's a lot of people who will keep, like, a fridge, so they'll have kind of, like, this is the stuff where they freeze their stuff and then they have stuff staged to thaw out. But I'm like, you know where my stuff I stage to thaw goes? In my pocket. Because I won't eat it. Alright, let's top off the gas on this thing. Or the oven if you can't wait. Yep, you are correct. I've certainly done that too, where it's like, look, I really want to just cook my stuff now. I'm just going to put it in thought. Almost all these cars have gas containers in them too. Not all of them, but most of them. Oh right, we got a couple thread.